What if the thing you hate the most about your mind is actually the only part of you that's telling the truth? What if your overthinking isn't the problem? What if it's the smoke alarm and you're living in a house quietly catching fire while you're busy trying to silence the sound? You know, there's something incredibly fascinating about overthinking, something most people miss entirely. We treat it like an enemy, like a malfunction, like a glitch in the system we're desperate to fix. We say, I need to stop overthinking, or my overthinking is ruining my life. But what if none of that is true? What if your overthinking isn't the fire, but the alarm? What if it's not the problem, but the signal? Think about it. When a smoke alarm goes off, you can scream at it, hit it, ignore it, or drown it out with music. But the real question is always the same. Why is it ringing? What fire is it warning you about? Most people try to silence the alarm, not investigate the smoke. Meditation, affirmations, distractions, they're all attempts to quiet the noise. But if the house is burning, silence is the most dangerous thing you can achieve. Overthinking has one purpose: to draw your attention to something you're refusing to look at. So what is it really trying to tell you? Sometimes it's this: you're trying to control something that cannot be controlled. Your mind starts spinning when you hit uncertainty, when the future is unclear, when outcomes can't be predicted. And because you refuse to accept that some things are beyond your grip, the mind spirals, trying to solve an unsolvable equation, trying to calculate the landing spot of a falling leaf. It works itself to exhaustion, not because it's broken, but because you've given it an impossible task. Overthinking isn't the issue. Your relationship with uncertainty is. Then there's the second message your overthinking might be screaming: you don't trust yourself. Listen to the noise in your head. It's always decisions, isn't it? Should I do this or that? Stay or leave? Say yes or say no? And you analyze, debate, question, and doubt. Because deep down, you don't trust your ability to handle whatever comes after the choice. You're not looking for the right decision. You're looking for a risk-free decision. And such a thing does not exist. Your mind keeps spinning, not because the options are complicated, but because you don't trust yourself to survive the consequences. Then there's message number 3. You're living someone else's script. All your stress, your confusion, your paralysis. Ask yourself, whose expectations are you trying to meet? Whose definition of right are you terrified to violate? Whose life are you actually living? Overthinking explodes when you're out of alignment with who you genuinely are. It's the soul's rebellion, the inner you saying, this isn't me. This isn't my life. This isn't the path. Overthinking isn't noise, it's communication. It wants you to stop pretending, stop controlling, stop outsourcing your authority, stop abandoning yourself. And finally, here's the deepest truth. Your overthinking is not your enemy. It's your wake-up call. The alarm is loud because the fire matters. And the fire is your life unfolding without your permission. The fire is the real you, trying to break through the layers of fear, expectations, and conditioning. So, don't silence the alarm. Follow it. It's trying to take you home. Have you ever noticed how overthinking is treated like an enemy, like a glitch in the system that needs to be fixed? We say, I need to stop overthinking, or this is ruining my life. But what if none of that is true? What if overthinking isn't the problem at all? What if it's the alarm, not the fire? Overthinking is trying to tell you something crucial. It's the mind waving a red flag, saying, pay attention. Something's off. Sometimes it's this. You're trying to live a life that isn't really yours. Every choice feels impossible because the expectations, the rules, the shoulds, they're not yours. They come from your parents, your culture, your education, your peers. You've absorbed so many scripts that you've forgotten your own. Your overthinking is saying, this life doesn't fit. These choices aren't yours. Stop forcing yourself into someone else's mold. Then comes a deeper layer. You've forgotten that you're not the thinker. You identify so completely with your thoughts that you try to use thinking to solve thinking itself, like trying to use fire to put out fire. Notice this. Thoughts arise, but you are not your thoughts. There is awareness that observes them, a space in which they appear. Overthinking is the mind's way of nudging you to remember this truth. It's saying, stop being trapped in the endless loop of thinking. Remember who you are beneath it all. Another message? Overthinking often reveals what you're avoiding. The mind spins when there's something uncomfortable, an emotion, a truth, an action you don't want to face. The stories and scenarios your mind creates are a way to stay in your head and avoid your heart. Overthinking is telling you, feel it, face it, stop running. And yet another message. Overthinking is almost always about the future. What might happen? What could go wrong? What should I do next? Rarely is it about this moment. The mind tries to control what can't be controlled. That's why it spins. That's why you feel exhausted. The truth is, overthinking is a guide, not an enemy. It points you to misalignment, lack of trust, avoidance, and the illusion of control. The solution isn't to think less or think better. It's to reconnect. Trust yourself to handle whatever arises. Live your own life, not the one someone else scripted. Feel your emotions, don't avoid them. Step into the present, don't live in the future. Recognize that you are the awareness, not the thoughts themselves. Once you understand these messages, overthinking stops being a prison and becomes a teacher, a wake-up call guiding you back to yourself. Overthinking is trying to tell you something important. When your mind races about the future, it's not the thoughts themselves that are the problem. It's where you're trying to live. You can plan for the future, anticipate it, prepare for it, but you can't actually live there. The only moment you can truly inhabit is now. Overthinking is your mind's way of saying, come back to this moment. Stop living in a time that doesn't exist yet. This doesn't mean you shouldn't plan or think ahead. It means doing so from a grounded presence in the now, not from anxious obsession. One is functional, the other is neurotic. Here's another layer your overthinking might reveal. You're treating life like a puzzle to be solved rather than an experience to be lived. You think if you analyze everything, figure out every variable, you'll finally have peace. But life isn't a puzzle. It's a flow, an unfolding. Every moment asks not for analysis, but presence. Overthinking is telling you, you're using the wrong tool. Stop trying to think your way through something that must be experienced. Thinking itself isn't the enemy. It's a powerful tool when used correctly. Designing a house, solving a problem, planning a project. Overthinking becomes the problem only when it tries to solve what cannot be solved by thought. So what do? Stop fighting it. Stop trying to silence it. Instead, get curious. Ask, what am I trying to control that can't be controlled? Where am I avoiding truth or uncomfortable feelings? Whose life am I trying to live? Where am I not present? Then, address the underlying message. Let go of control, build self-trust, face what you're avoiding, and return to the present moment. The mind quiets itself naturally once it no longer needs to send the alarm. The smoke alarm stops when the fire is out. Here's the beauty. When you treat overthinking as a teacher instead of an enemy, you develop a new relationship with your mind. You see it not as an adversary, but as an ally, trying to guide you toward living authentically, presently and in alignment with your true self. Overthinking is just the mind shouting because you've ignored its whispers. Listen, pay attention and be grateful. It cares enough to alert you. When you respond, something wonderful happens. The mind, no longer tasked with impossible demands, becomes peaceful. Thoughts flow like ripples on a still pond, occasional disturbances, but fundamentally calm. This is the power of seeing overthinking not as a problem to fix, but as a message trying to guide you. Home.